places where the map ends and the unknown begins, where shadows whisper and the truth hides in plain sight. Welcome to Agents of the Unexplained, the broadcast for those who seek what others fear to find. Here is your host, Bill Rigby.
Bill Rigby leads the way into the strange. Whispers in the static, truth inside.
Hey, everybody. It's great to be back on the air, especially tonight. I really don't need to be giving a big introduce, to this gentleman that I can call my brother. He is one very intelligent man, from the cryptid to the paranormal to the government. He's a great medicine man. My brother, William Nighthawk. How you doing,
Bill?
brother?
Doing good, brother. Doing good.
Can't give you a big introduction because you're very well known. Number one.
No, I'm just an old Indian, man. That's all. I'm just an old Indian. If people know me, it's because that they graced my presence with their presence, and that's all it is.
I hear you, but I guarantee you, we got a lot of people that has talked nothing but highly of you on your knowledge.
I appreciate that.
And how straight up you are. And
well, that's I've always been one to tell you where the bear goes in the woods. So it's that nature of my the way I describe things, and my spirituality of things is coming from a Native American indigenous point of view, and my connection to everything growing up. I mean, from my first near-death experience at the age of three and a half, to present. I mean, I've gone through everything from 2 near-death experiences that are documented, that, one from my first cancer that I had in 2019, and, all the paranormal activity growing up on a haunted property with a haunted house and everything, even including, in 1987, having a missing time situation after seeing a certain craft above a baseball field, hovering above a baseball field. So, I pretty much experienced everything in my lifetime.
now, I was 14 when I first saw the UFO, and I was 8 years old when I saw the P&G film.
Oh God! Don't get me going on that.
We'll end up there. We've been seeing the orbs here too, Carl. Very much so. But I was 8 years old till I hit 62.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I had my sighting. And I was wishing for a sighting for a few years there.
Yeah.
So I'm here to say, my brother Jack Warren's watching out there. He's the one that got me in there. I'm in Pennsylvania, right on the Ohio line, Carl. I've been to Louisiana. I love Louisiana.
Good people down there, man.
Yes. A lot of nice people down there.
Yep.
But I'm a firm believer, be careful what you wish for. Because my sighting was 15 feet from me. So, and it's Jack Warren's fault because he asked me to come to that camp house.
Oh, man. Gotta blame somebody else, huh?
Yeah, I thanked him left and right for that because I actually got a sighting. And Jack's a hell of a tracker, Bigfoot researcher, investigator, and I got a lot of respect and love for that man too. And I'm happy that, really happy he invited me to the camp out.
That's good. That's good.
Uh,
I'm going to try and get to the ECBRO camp out this year, one of them at least, God willing. Physicality, taking into account, if I'm able to do it or not.
right. And
But,
that's
yeah, that's a biggie for me.
that. Yeah, same here. Last year, between my health and my wife's health, I couldn't get out. Oh man, did you see that?
Oh yeah.
Militia for women, please behave.
Yeah.
Do I knew
Yeah.
eat us? No, I don't, Addie. But I don't know who that is at all. But and like, oh, what the hell? Let's go there. The P&G film. We gotta
Okay.
touch base on this one. First,
Okay.
let me tell you how I feel on it. This new thing that they're trying to say it was hoax. Kiss my ass.
Yeah, that's about how I feel, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
Here's the thing, guys. When you can question films and videos all you want, but honestly, the Patty in that film, in the P&G film, okay, that we've all known since 1967, has existed. We all know that they did a dry run with a guy that they knew in a suit just to get the feel for it, because they wanted to freaking document it the right way.
yeah.
So that's where they came up with this whole hoaxing thing. Okay.
Yes.
The actual footage though, Bill, to question that, you got to question me and all the indigenous people around the world that have encountered these things for thousands of years. Okay. These things just didn't drop out of a UFO onto the ground 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Okay. They've been here a very long time, and there's more than one type of them.
Exactly.
Okay? So, it just, to me, to call that film a hoax without actually having a burden of proof other than another old footage of a guy and walking like him and outside of a VFW, for that matter, because that's where it was filmed, outside of a VFW. I can even tell you it was a brick building and everything. So, it's ridiculous. Okay. The Patty that was as she's called in that film was the exact same thing that I saw the first time when I was 10 years old and dealt with when we were doing dirt.
Let me say this. Okay. 1967. The ratings that the allow on TV did not allow nudity, did not allow people to sleep in their husband and wife sleep in the same bed. They got to sleep in single beds. All right. Patty had boobs swinging in the breeze.
Yeah.
How did they get away with that when?
When
the
ever-loving Brady Bunch slept in different beds.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There's so many things and so many issues I have when people come out, and I've always said that in any field of research, you're going to have your people that are going to be doing things for monetary benefit. Okay.
Yep.
You're going to be having them wanting fame and fortune off of somebody else's success 30, 40, 50, even 100 years earlier. Okay. And that's what we have here. Okay. We have a disgruntled, probably family member who didn't get what they wanted, and now they're basically, going through the ropes of, wanting to get payback. And that's pretty much the way I see it. Okay. And I'll tell you right now that just because they're calling the PNG original footage fraudulent doesn't make anybody's encounter or experiences out there with these beings, these forest people, big brother is what my people call them, and there's, like I said, there's several different types. My father taught me that there was 4 distinctive types that he knew of. Okay. There could even be more. Okay. Right. And, to dispute something that has been part of cultures, indigenous cultures, for literally thousands of years, when we used to literally interact with them and at every spring and have these almost like a rendezvous where we'd come together and we would test each other's prowess, and we'd wrestle, we'd trade, we'd eat, and trade crafts and stuff with them, over the years. And now it's, because of an unfortunate incident that happened, where a young native warrior got unalived by wrestling with one of their young ones. And obviously he got overpowered and basically got unalived that way by accident.
Yeah.
And the indigenous people, my people, weren't upset with that. Okay. They were actually forgiving and told them, in the sign language that we used and the verbal communication that we could speak with them, that there was no hard feelings. But they were so remorseful that they quit doing anything with indigenous people from that point in my bloodline. And that is the thing. Yeah, that is the thing. So, for them to be able to feel remorse for somebody's unfortunate unaliving tells you that they have a conscience. Okay.
Yes.
That they have a respect. And I'll go one step further. My being a Wachashiwa Khan, a holy man, a medicine man, and even an ordained minister for the Native American Church, by the way. There's something to be said when you walk with reverence and respect for everything. And that's what we have here. We have a group of indigenous beings that have tried to remain hidden from humanity for a very long time because of the remorse they felt over the years, the hundreds and hundreds of years that this happened ago. Yep. And, you can't blame them. We all know that when we lose somebody, that there's certain things that we have to do. With my people, we have a death song that we sing when we know it's our time, that we're going to cross over and move on. And in the old days, we used to just leave the Oyate, the nation, and walk away, and we would sing our song, and we would eventually die, and we will return to Mother Earth. So, for them, they have the same basic understanding. So for them, when they felt that loss of life from the young native warrior, all that remorse was like they were singing their death song, and they felt that the best way to do that was to basically, subject themselves to not being a part of humanity's native indigenous cultures anymore. And that's why we have all that, going on right now.
And I can buy into that very well. I seen where different sightings, they were in the shadows watching, but they did not want to get in, and I believe with mine, I believe it was a young one,
Mhm.
young teenager, and doing count coup. See how close he can get to me without me noticing, because there was something to the left throwing a stone or a net up at us. And I thought it was from the camp, actually, someone from the camp messing with us.
Right.
But when I finally got up that to where that was at, knelt down and started to use that scope to look down the trail, and I saw that movement out of my right eye there, and I turned and looked, and there it was, leaning in, looking at me. Wait a minute. I got to put this up on the screen. Carl, video that.
Oh, God.
Video that. I want to see it. Oh, man. That's awesome.
Carl's going to get himself in trouble. Yeah, he's going to get himself in trouble.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That is awesome. Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Hi, Marcy.
But
You know as
well as I do. Yeah, you know as well as I do. My first experience with seeing them was riding dirt bikes and stuff with two other buddies of mine, motocross bikes. Not bicycles. And the cracking and the popping of the two-stroke motors actually must have stirred them up a little bit. And the one that I saw was standing in the pathway that we came through the woods at, and we were looking right at it, and it was reaching up in the tree for a young one that it had. And it wasn't as big as the second one that I saw, because the second one I saw was the alpha. Okay. And he was every bit of 9 feet tall, if not taller, and about 4 foot across. So he was a big boy.
Mine, when it stood up, was 7 foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we went back down the next day and measured up on the tree, and I took like 6 guys with me, or 5 other guys. There were 6 of us. Yeah.
This is what Dave Lester did for the first one on a 3D printer for me that I saw. And I saw it when it was standing this way with its arms up in the air above the tree, reaching up into the leaves of the tree to grab a little one down. Now, I don't know if this one was juvenile, because it was only probably about 8 feet tall at the very most, but it was slender than the alpha that I saw about a week later. Okay. And this is what we were dealing with at the time. Okay. So imagine that standing that way and reaching up into the tree. Okay. Well, the second
one like that staring at you like this.
Exactly. The second one. Here's the second one that I saw. Okay. And you're going to see a dramatic difference. Okay. This is why I called him the alpha.
Okay. Yes.
That is every bit of the alpha. And that's exactly how he walked away too, with his stride and everything and his arms swaying. But that was the alpha that I encountered the second time a week later. And I mean, you can see every muscle of his arms and his chest, and even his legs were massive. Okay.
And that's why I figured mine was a juvenile. Because the arms and the chest, you could see the muscles on that. The legs seemed misproportionate because it wasn't, which I figured they should have been bigger. Because, hey, they're walking everywhere. But, and I got to answer a question for Monisha. Monisha,
go ahead.
That was 5 years ago I had my sighting. I was 62 years old. And let me tell you something. At 62 years old, I ran pretty damn fast backwards without watching where I was going, because I was watching it till I get back to my friends about 100 paces behind me. And I didn't fall down. But anyhow, she asked how old I was. I was 62, and it would be 5 years this August. And So all these years, it's 5 years ago. And
You never lose that feeling of that sighting. You
oh
never
hell
do.
no, it still affects me, but plus just seeing it and seeing how it was 4 foot wide, about the muscles on it being 15 feet away, and you don't know what it's going to do to you. You don't.
Exactly.
And someone said, "Did you get a picture? Are you on drugs? I'm trying to get the hell out of there." That thing was big.
Yeah. Yeah. Most people don't understand that, in the time frames that I had my first couple sightings when I was younger, as a young adult and a young, a teenager, we didn't have the technology available like cell phones and stuff with us at the time. So, people have to understand that aspect too when we talk about certain sightings and stuff. And to be honest with you, the fifth time that I encountered them, I had a cell phone with me, and I didn't feel like taking its picture because I had nothing to prove to anybody. Okay. And that's the thing. When you have your encounters and you experience it firsthand and you're a knower, you don't worry about the results of what somebody says is fraudulent in a PNG video from 1967. Okay. You don't worry about, you don't worry about that stuff because you know dang well that these things exist, plain and simple.
All right. Monisha was 3, she says, when she had her first one. And she's 41 now, and I'll never forget. Monisha, William told me you're over in Ohio. Well, what part of Ohio are you in? I'd like to know, seriously. And I will be at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. There's my man, Jack. Jack Orr.
Jack.
He's the reason I seen one. Cincinnati, what the hell are you doing? Don't tell me you're a Bengals fan.
Get him with his shit.
Oh no. Yes, I'm a diehard Steelers fan, Monisha. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. But anyhow. But yes, I will be set up at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. And I do set up there. It cost me a pretty penny. It's costing me $450, $500 to be there. And I don't care if I sell any of my stuff. I'm there to network and meet people, hear their stories. Oh, here we go. Oh my God, my Southwestern PA Steeler fan. I got some backup. Hey, Bobby Nacho's out there too. Awesome. And Jack, he's here. You do. I call him a couple different things. A couple different things.
First off, but you can call them whatever you want, really. I mean, it's the name Bigfoot and the name Sasquatch isn't even the actual dialect. It's just a derivative, from a Salish type of a translation. So, and Bigfoot, we all know how he got that name from 1958 from the photographs from the logging company, that they found, So, I mean,
and I did ask a woman. A woman did ask me, William. She goes, with Bigfoot, is it true about the size of their feet? I says, don't even go there, woman. Don't even go there. Because I don't know. I'm not looking there.
I can tell you that's not where you're looking when you run into somebody that's 9 foot tall and basically 4 feet wide. So 9-10 feet tall. You don't look there. You're staring it right in the face, and just, you're in such a disarray of a belief that, from your first sighting, that you can't fathom it. So that's probably the last thing that you look at, unless you think about that a lot. So
yeah, and everyone asked me what eye color they had. How in the hell do I know? To me, that was a predator. I'm not staring a predator down that's that big. And
I have experienced them where they're like the Patterson Gimlin film from '67. I've experienced them like that, where they're almost like a 2/3, Neanderthal type of a being with a third of the ape gene in them, or whatever, however you want to describe it. But I have seen one that had blue eyes. Okay. And I always thought that was unusual. Yeah, blue eyes. But it was almost the one that had was missing hair and spots. So I'm thinking maybe it was an interbreeding thing with maybe a human, or the human gene popped in that one, because how genetic traits will pop up like 3 or 4 generations later. Well, I'm kind of thinking they have that same thing happening when they reproduce.
Yeah, that's like someone with the albino gene. Yeah, it might lay dormant in several generations, and all of a sudden it just comes out. So yeah, I can see that, and that's like the white Bigfoots up in Carbon County, Pennsylvania. It.
Yeah, there, Jack just confirmed it.
Yeah, I see that, and I'm thinking back. Ernie did tell me that, along with the hand sign language, and that's and Johnny Freeman says the two he's seen close up, they were dark color.
Yeah, I've seen the majority of them have dark eyes or brown eyes. It's more of a darker color. But that one time that I saw the blue eyes, it was a brilliant blue. It wasn't like a dull type of a blue. It was pretty blue eyes. So I mean, it had to have some kind of human gene in it to develop that trait eventually along that reproduction line of generation after generation. So who knows? Maybe they are somewhat a percentage of human DNA, and that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why my people call them Big Brother and the Force people, because to us they weren't a threat.
And someone tried to tell me, that they are aggressive, and to me,
they can be.
For the majority, they're not.
Yeah, well, they can be aggressive though, Bill. They can be very. But they only do that when you have a lack of respect for their world. They only do that when they feel you have disrespected them or the environment or something that they interact with on a regular basis in their living room, because it is their living room. It's not ours.
Yes, it is.
And so
that's the
it's
thing,
like
too.
You wipe your feet or take your shoes off when you go in somebody's house. You do the same respectful thing to them. You leave them something. I always leave tobacco and a couple feathers, and I say a prayer before I go in, and I never had a bad thing happen. Never.
Yeah. The only bad thing I had happen is because in the one area I go in all the time, and I do announce that I'm there. It's me. I'm just here to visit. You know, I'm not going to cause no problems, nothing like that. You know, and I just speak to them.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Exactly.
as I was walking down the trail, and Jack Warren's been on this trail with me. Um, you got a pine grove on the left, and you get down so far, you know, you got the wood line on the right, but you get down so far, there's a big brush field. Yeah. And I get to almost the end of that brush field, then the tree lines start, and you go down 50 to 75 yards before I turn in to the left and go through the woods and down through a gully and out into one area I sit. And I wasn't near the tree line yet. I'm going to say 20 yards from it. One of the loudest tree knocks I ever heard was to the left of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking around like, oh shit. I'm sorry, guys. It's me. I had a lot on my mind. I was just coming in. I want to sit and relax and get my bearings. Should have told you since I was here. I apologize. I go in and sit in my area. Not even a chipmunk moved. Nothing. Not bird. Nothing. I come out, start up the trail. I finally see a bird. They were pissed.
Yeah, they can get the environment around you and the wildlife around you to be so quiet.
Mm-hmm.
From just, I don't know if it's all, you know, infrasound or what it's, you know, like a Bengal tiger does to its prey, you know, locking it in place out of fear. You know, I don't know if it's that they're doing or if it's just a respectful thing that the wildlife has to them being the alpha in the woods and basically the watchers, you know.
And that's the thing. And I believe that. And Jack got a question for you. What's your thoughts of showing your hands in friendship before entering the woods?
Well, here's the thing, Jack. Back in the old days, when my people would greet each other from a cousin tribe, because I'm Lakota, Shawnee, and Cherokee descendant, indigenous, and we would always raise our hand and say how. It would always be our left hand we would raise, okay, because our left hand is connected to our heart. Okay, first off. Secondly, when you're saying hello, you're showing that you have 5 digits. Okay. And for the longest time, people thought it was just, you know, throwing it up as, you know, the hand going to the heart and being sincere. And it does have that to do with it, but it's also to prove that you are human. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I like that. That is. All right, BJ's out there, and Jack says thank you. BJ, did you find the bird feeder? Her mom, they live up in Forest County, PA, up there where the Bigfoot Festival runs up there. Someone left the gate open on her mom's property. A big bear came in and ripped down the bird feeder. She seen it do it. It was a big one. Then she goes out and looks for the bird feeder. 86 years old, and she's worried about a bird feeder, and there's a bear out there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yes, bears can sense humanity being ticked off at the bear. So trust me, they know how to run too. So.
Yes, they do. And bears they don't want to socialize with us.
No, they want a free meal.
Yeah,
but they don't want to be anywhere around a human. So,
and that's
their stomachs think more than their brain.
Yes. We had a bear.
Now, I wanted to answer. Can I answer Bobby? Bobby Nacho had a question earlier, Bill, about what to do if you encounter one. And I want to tell Bobby exactly what I was told by my father and my uncles growing up as a child is you always give them their distance and their respect. And the reason we as indigenous people, we don't look directly in the eyes of them.
Mm-mm.
We look down at the ground out of respect. Okay. And it's not just the respectful mannerisms that we give them by doing that. It's kind of like you're showing them that they matter, but what they're doing to protect the environment or be a part of the environment at the time doesn't actually have anything to do with us personally. Okay, so we give them that acknowledgement that they can go about what they're doing and we can go about what we're doing. Okay. Secondly, the reason for that no looking them in the eye is because when you make eye contact, it's just like any other wildlife, like a wolf or a fox or a cat, that are young. They're going to imprint on you. Okay.
Yep.
They're going to imprint and make you almost like a surrogate family member. Okay, like an extended family member. Okay, and then they're going to interact with you more, and sometimes it can be good, and sometimes it could be bad, depending on how aggressive they are towards humanity. And that has a lot to do with the environment too that they're living in. Okay.
Exactly.
Here's the thing that my father told me and my uncles told me growing up, and I'm 62 now. Okay. So, this has been a long time, this whole thing of growing up with them and living basically, within hundreds and hundreds of yards from them. Okay. As a child, I was told, never to look them in the eye, but never disrespect them either. Okay. If you see one, say thank you for showing yourself. If you have something to gift them, like a feather or tobacco or heck, even an apple, anything that shows you being humble enough to give them a gift. I wouldn't make it bacon. I wouldn't make it donuts. I wouldn't make it, anything else but certain things. Okay. I've even gone so far in life as to make buckskin Bigfoot dolls and stuff them with sage and cedar. And I'd make them about 6 inches tall out of buckskin sewn together with sinew. Okay. And I would give those every now and then for their young. And I would go back to the site where I placed it and they would be gone. And there would be nobody else around. So I knew darn well that they were gifting them, they were actually receiving them gifts because no other human being would have been there. Okay. So the whole thing is when you're dealing with something for the first time, give it its distance and give it its due respect. Okay.
Yes.
And, if you can do those things and not stare at it like it's a circus freak, and be respectful to the environment, they're going to treat you in a more positive way. The majority of the encounters that you hear about that are aggressive are usually either encounters where you have hunters out in the woods with weapons that are hunting in areas where they hunt. So, of course, they're going to be aggressive, okay, and chase them out of there. But have you ever heard of one grabbing a hunter and ripping his arms off and his legs off? No. Okay. You don't hear those accounts. You hear them chasing them out of the woods in an aggressive manner. I mean, what are they going to do? Go up with their pinky out and say, "Excuse me, can you leave the area while we hunt?" No.
I had a situation where I ticked off a certain TV star, Turtle Man. But up at Forest County Bigfoot Festival, we were all speakers there that couple years ago. And during the round table on Saturday evening, first question was, can you get close to them, or do they always get aggressive? And I'm the third person over. You had Turtle Man, you had Jim Boardwine, and then me, and then it goes on down the line. Well, Turtle Man jumps up. Yeah. Yes, they get aggressive when you get close to them. They get very angry. You do not go close to them. I'm like, oh, bullshit. And I thought I said it low. And Jim Boardwine started laughing. Turtle Man looks at me. Oh, no, I'm telling you. So I just shut up because I know I get to speak. And I'm like, oh, he's so full of it. You know, I'm 15 feet away from one, and it didn't tear me apart.
I was within 5 feet of one time. It was a younger one. Okay, he was every bit of 7 feet tall, probably about 600 pounds, and that's a young, small one, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
But not aggressive, not hateful, curious, very curious. Reached out, touched my hair, pulled my hair off, up, like this, and looked at it and was feeling the texture of it and looking at the color, smelled it, and, real gentle. Okay. Dark eyes. Okay. Mid complexion. Okay. I don't want to say black complexion or gray, but kind of in between. Okay. Like a smoky complexion. Okay. And, just real gentle. And as soon as his curiosity was done, he just turned and walked away back to his family unit. I was on a Humblatia at the time. A Humblatia is what we call Vision Quest. Okay. And that's where we go out with a Wachashawakan, a holy man, and we are placed out in the environment for 3 to 4 days without food. The only thing we have is a gallon jug of sage water with us, a knife, and our clothes on our back. And that's pretty much it. We can have our feather fans, we can have, traditional, stuff like this, and our rattles and our shields and stuff like that if we want. But as far as food and stuff goes, no. It's a purification process of the spirit.
Right.
And I made such a connection in those 3 days of being out there that I had this, when the medicine person came to me and said, okay, you're done, with your Humblatia, come and we'll smudge, and then we'll do a sweat lodge and talk about it. And so I went and I did that with my elder, with my medicine person. And basically I walked up to the creek where I was literally just parked yards from in my medicine circle. And something told me, Nighthawk, look down at your feet. And I was standing in about 3 inches of water in the sand and the mud of the stream with the small pebbles. And something told me, look down at your feet. And in between my feet sat this obsidian spearhead. And it was about 3 inches long. I showed it to Daniel Benoit of the ECBRO in person. And he was amazed. And David and Melissa have seen it too, Lester's, and a few others out there have seen it. Every time I take it out, I have it in my medicine bag. So whenever I take it out of my medicine bag, I have to resmudge it and purify it and put it back in, and pray over it. But as I reached down and realized what it was, and I reached down and into the water and picked it up, something said, now Nighthawk, look to your right. And I looked to my right, and there, 30 feet across the other side of the stream, in the shadows of the tree line, stood that big alpha that I had that second encounter with. And he had a grin on his face. Okay. He literally had emotion on his face. Like, you know what? I'm proud of you, young man, for doing that, because you proved something. You connected yourself with Mother Earth. You connected yourself with the spirits. You connected yourself with my people, and your people. So you honored the ancestors. And that's why I've always felt like there's a certain part of them that they have their own hidden culture, the less apish ones, the more Neanderthal looking type of ones that have some kind of a gene that makes them look more human, but yet are still hair covered and big and massive.
Right.
They are just, they're amazing. Okay. Because having the abilities that they are gifted with is something that most indigenous people, we fell away from. Okay. I've always embraced that my whole life. Okay. Even when I became a Christian, I still embrace that. Okay. Even when I do Sweat Lodge, I still embrace that. Even if I do Humblatia today, even with my, cancers and stuff that I have, I still embrace what they taught me. And the fact that they are so connected to the environment that they can literally do anything. They know that you're coming to the woods before you know you're coming to the woods. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's the native belief. They are the watchers. Okay. They are the protectors of the woods, plain and simple. Now, granted, my father and uncles told me 4 distinctive types. You got the big human ones that are 9 to 10 feet tall, maximum 4 feet across, very intelligent, very family oriented. They're the ones that can do the structures and stuff, the build, the branch structures and tree structures that you find, the rock stacking. They're the ones that communicate with sign language. They're the ones that communicate with mouth clicks. So many different ways and different from other species of them. He said, my father went on to say, you got the really big ones that can be up to like 15 feet tall in some cases, believe it or not, from Alaska on down into the northwest areas of Washington and Oregon. That they can get that big.
Right.
They're that way. They come down through the Nahanni Valley, and if anybody knows anything about the Nahanni Valley legends, there's legends of giants that live in that valley. Okay. And not just giants like Bigfoot that are 10, 12, 15 feet tall, but giant insects and giant, other creatures in there. Okay. So, there's just these legends. And if we didn't have these legends, why would we have them? And then you have the smaller ones. You have the small ones coming up from South America, Bill, that came up through South America and the Southwest and scattered along the swamp areas of the South all the way over into Florida. And that's why they're smaller in stature, and they're more aggressive because if I lived in a swamp, I'd be mean as shit too, you know? I mean, there's
like in Florida, the skunk apes, they're shorter than the ones that are up here.
Mm-hmm.
But so are the deers.
Yeah, exactly. It's environment.
They're here. They're here.
You better feed it. It sounds hungry.
My Fox Pro.
No.
Squatch call.
Yeah.
It's the Squatch Pro, folks. It has all the animal calls and several Bigfoot hollers, and these guys make a great call. They really do. And I could not resist doing that to you, William. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm used to it anyway, so it doesn't matter to me.
That's true.
I mean, that noise is nothing to me. I mean, I've heard them almost talk like an English, but it was a real fast guttural type of a language,
right?
That I couldn't understand.
Like some people call it gibberish. To me,
I've seen them actually do sign language with each other too. So I mean, they're there's so many things, and one thing that they learned from our people, the indigenous cultures around the world, is that's why when somebody sees like a teepee structure, that's the symbol of a family unit or a nation of them, a tribe of them living in that area. Okay, they're laying claim to that area. Okay, when you see the
Okay.
X in the woods, a lot of people think, oh, that means don't go there, don't go there. No, what that means is they're telling others of other groups to stay out of there because that's their hunting area.
Right.
Okay, that's where they hunt. That's where they get their daily necessities out of the environment. Okay, and they lay claim
Exactly.
to that. Okay, when you see a tree thrown across a pathway or a logging road or something along that lines, I've even seen them thrown across railroad tracks. They're telling you to stay the hell out. Okay, plain and simple. And they're
That's
not.
the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you could be headed right into a hunt. There's a group of them hunting.
Yeah.
Well, you're just putting yourself in a bad situation.
Well, I
Nothing
mean,
but-
here's how they hunt too. Everybody thinks that they hunt in one certain way, and they don't. The ways that I've seen them interact in hunting and stuff, and I've observed them hunting deer. The second time I had a run-in with them on my dirt bike, when I was like going on 11, 12 years old, and I had the big alpha that I saw. He threw the branch out and it hit the spokes of my motorcycle, and I flipped over onto the path. Thank God I was only doing about 15 miles an hour. But as I went to push the motorcycle off of me, which burnt my calf muscle on the exhaust of the bike. I still got that on my leg. As I lifted it up, he was standing no more than 15, 20 feet away from me next to a big tree with a grin on his face, like, yeah, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
And I taught you a lesson. Well, I looked to the right of him, and there was a smaller one that was getting close to capturing a deer that was bedded down, and the deer looked like it was scared, unable to move. Okay, so I automatically realized, you know what, I pissed him off because I interrupted their hunt.
Yep.
So, but there
And
was
that's-
nothing across the trail to say stay the hell out. So
That's like my friend Joe Kesky. I believe that the mean bluff charge that one did to him and his friends, they was headed down this trail to go near, and it was across the pond. They come charging across the pond at them. Needless to say, those young guys ran their asses off to get out of there. But and I believe that they interrupted a hunt. I don't think they was getting close to a young one. I believe it was a hunt. And
exactly. Anytime you want to interact with them, also one piece of advice I can give everybody, okay, from my own encounters with them my whole life, is watch the wildlife in the area.
Yep.
Watch what the birds do, watch what the squirrels do, and other animals that you see out there on a daily basis, okay? And watch what the night animals do, like the raccoons and the possums and stuff like that. See their interactions with the environment, okay?
That's
because
the thing.
how they act, if
Yes.
they send up the warning calls, to be on your guard, okay?
Yep.
If they act like it's a normal routine, and to go and they're just doing their thing, then there's nothing to fear. You always want to watch your environment and watch your wildlife for reactions when you're dealing with any cryptid. Any cryptid. It's not just Bigfoot, any cryptid. Hey, Bryce. Good to see you in here, man.
I talked to a psych about me having an old soul when I was looking for a crystal quartz for protection. The next weekend I was gifted all right, I was gifted an old soul crystal. Celestial quartz. Yep, BJ. And
see what I mean?
Naturally anywhere around there. Yep.
Yeah, see what I mean? They're not some dumb ape, okay? And when people categorize them as some dumb ape, you might as well insult the indigenous cultures out there and call us just dumb hairless apes too. Because they're learning this stuff from us. We interacted with them for thousands of years right here, okay? This was our land and their land before anybody else came here, Okay. So we
That's
have these
true.
legends in place for a reason. Okay. It's our oral traditional history. Okay. And if you can't take care of them, the wildlife, and the environment, like even the Bible, even God gave us, dominion over them and made us the stewards of the land and the wildlife. Okay. And the beasts of the earth. Okay. So take it from a biblical aspect and look at it that way. Humanity has failed. Okay.
That's
Humanity
an
has completely
understatement.
failed.
That's
Okay.
definitely an
In
understatement.
taking care of what they were made stewardships of. Okay. And even my own people have failed to a point, because a lot of our young tend to get away from the culture because of the drugs and the alcohol and the gang life and this, that, and the other thing, wanting to be Hollywood movie stars or rich and famous,
Well,
It, it,
not just that. Poverty didn't help that situation either.
yeah, but I grew up in poverty too, and I didn't turn to drugs and
No,
alcohol.
no, not everyone, but I'm saying that doesn't help the situation.
Yeah.
And
You either
the
have a
way,
chance to, yeah, you either have a chance to embrace your culture and your heritage, or you step away from it. It's kind of like what do the
you're
Amish
right.
call it? Bill, they call it
Oh,
Rumsfeld.
yes, Rumspringer.
Yeah, Rumspringer. That's it. So
And
it's kind of like that. Um, if we made our culture a little bit more attractive to the young people nowadays, they probably wouldn't step away from it so much. And
yeah,
that's why I try to bring forth this education of our legends and stuff, especially with Bigfoot and the Dogman legends and stuff. Um, you know, Spirit Lakes, the hidden waters, the little people,
yes.
these are all legends for a reason.
Well, that's my friend Susan's saying. She's agreeing with you with this. Humanity has failed in what they were made stewards of is so true. And
Yeah,
it's true. We see that everywhere,
yeah,
everywhere. And it's
it's
a
very true.
shame.
Yeah, it
Um,
is a shame. We failed. We literally failed.
yes.
And until we admit that fact with all of our heart and ask for forgiveness from the Creator, we're always going to struggle as a race of people, not a race of color, but of humanity. Okay. As a whole, we are going to struggle. And
Yep.
that's why certain people in powerful places and certain other entities that I'm not going to name um, have taken control of the reins of humanity and manipulated them for hundreds and hundreds of years now, because they get something out of it, and humanity as a whole continues to suffer and continues to harm each other and hate each other over race, over religion, over um, basic beliefs. Okay, it's gotten to such a point that I compare humanity's struggles with each other through religion and
Yep.
through race and all that, and education and classification of wealth and all that. I compare that to basically the battle in heaven when Lucifer
Yep.
fell and took a third of the angels with him.
Yep.
That's the same thing that's going on with humanity right now. If you think about it, we've
No, I
fallen.
know, and I have. And it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary because we're seeing it happen all over again with this humanity. And
Yep.
I feel
Exactly.
for my grandkids, what are they going to have?
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
just, you know, this is not the world I grew up wanting for
Yeah.
them. And
Exactly.
I'm being dead serious. I
Yeah.
want them to be able to go out and explore what's going on out there, but have
Mm-hmm.
the love of the land too,
Exactly.
and the creatures that are in it.
Yeah.
But
It's like
no,
I tell everybody, Bill, out there when they ask me for advice, and a lot of people do come to me for advice, and I do my best to try to help them out from a Native American standpoint and from a spiritual standpoint. But sometimes, humanity makes it so difficult to answer the question, because it's a question that they could answer if they only looked within themselves.
Right.
Okay. And, to me, we have a saying in my family that, we walk in beauty, or we walk the red road. Okay. And walking the red road or walking in beauty means you walk with a reverence and respect for everything. Everything.
Right.
Okay. Not just certain parts of our life, but literally everything that we encounter through our journey in life. We have to have a respect and a reverence for everything. Okay. When we come to water and we have to cross water, we lay down tobacco and we say a prayer and a blessings, asking, the Creator to give us safe passage. When I go into the woods, I'll find the first pine tree I can find and the first maple tree I can find, and I'll lay a pinch of tobacco down at the base of it, and I'll say a prayer and say thank you, to my cousins and my brothers and sisters of the environment and of Mother Earth to grant me peace and harmony while I'm here in the woods.
Yep.
It's stuff like that we do, not because we don't believe in Christ or God as a whole, as a religious figure. Okay. But you got to understand that everything is connected. Okay. And even Christ, when he was, walking the earth, he tried to teach everybody unconditional love and unconditional respect for everything.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
tried, and who sold him out? The Pharisees sold him out. Okay.
Yes.
So, his own people sold him out. And that's what we have happening today. A certain sect of our own people are selling us out.
Very much so.
Yeah. And it's sad. Okay. But if we can just get back to a fraction of how we used to live and be respectful and honor everything, things will change for the better. Okay.
Back in the late 90s, I moved to a little community up in Indiana County, Pennsylvania. They had one state road going down into the town and back out.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you had another road that goes in and out, and it was a township road. But you swore you was back in the 60s.
Right.
The way the people were there. They waved at you and said hi, and oh, you're new around here. How are you doing? Where are you from? Showing some respect and kindness.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what this world needs to get back to.
Yeah, exactly.
And, this hate. And let me tell you, Bigfoot's saying this. That's why they don't want to get back with the humans either.
Exactly. They, and it's not to say that, all of them have the same attitude and stuff, but what it is it's a way that they have lived their whole lives away from humanity for so many hundreds and hundreds of years, not wanting anything to do with us. And they have continued to grow spiritually because of their connection to Mother Earth, to the spirit realm, to the Creator. Okay. And this is the thing too. If they didn't know about the Creator, some of the conversations that I had with them with sign language or through mind speaking wouldn't show me that they're pointing upward. Why would they be pointing upward and talking to me if they didn't believe that there was a one true Creator? So, you have to keep that in mind. Now, granted, like I said, you've got your different ones, but you have a sect of them, a certain branch of them, to say, genetically, that are very, very much human oriented. Okay. Right. So
I got to read this to you
Oh,
from my friend Susan.
yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah.
I gotta close the door here. I'm getting some feedback from outside. I'll be right
Okay.
back. Just give me 33 seconds.
All right, brother. Susan, this is very interesting. I got to read this though, and
I can hear you.
Bonnie, I agree. Uh, Susan wrote, "I am fascinated with the connection between Native American beliefs and Christian beliefs. I consider myself a Christian, but I do a lot of things on instinct that are more like Native American tradition. I only find out after the fact that it is a Native American tradition. How did
Yeah.
I know to do that then? Very interesting."
Can I answer that?
Yes, it's for you, brother. You got the answer to it. I don't.
Because
I had to put
each
my glasses on for that one.
because inside each of us was a divine spark that was given to us upon our creation. And that divine spark can only come from one place, and that's the Creator, the Heavenly Father. Okay. So that divine spark, we either mature that over time through our journey through this life, or we tend to set it aside, which is what most people do. Okay. Because here's the thing, being a son or a daughter of the Creator, of God, the Heavenly Father, whatever you want to call him. If you want to call him Yeshua, call him Yeshua. If you want to call him Jesus, call him Jesus. If you want to call him the Creator, call him the Creator. He has many names. It even says that in the Bible. Okay. So call him what you're comfortable with. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Here's where it all comes into play. That divine spark. If you go and you look at the Ethiopian Bible, okay, and I've studied a lot of different things all the way from the Sumerian text on down, emerald tablets, copper scrolls, the book of Philip, the book of Enoch, the book of Giants, the book of Jubilee. I've gone through them all and studied them all.
The Quran on top of it.
Yeah.
You got to read them all to understand what's going on.
Exactly. And here's the thing. That divine spark, it lies dormant inside us until we ignite it again. Okay? Because when we were given free will, we were given the free will to decide whether we want to take that path immediately or negate that path. Okay? And that's why we have instilled a system of indigenous cultures, primarily, have instilled a system of holy men and medicine people. Okay? Because part of that path is a connection to the environment. Because who created the environment? You know, I mean, my father said it best when I was growing up, Bill, and he said it best. He said, if you're going to go to a church, go to the most beautiful church that was ever created by God himself. And that is the Cathedral of the Pines.
You're right.
Think about it.
And everybody knows where I go for my solace. And it is in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
That is where I'm more at peace at.
Exactly. And that's where they're at peace at too. Think about it.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how much more obvious we can make it. When you know, humanity has come a long ways. Okay, it really has. In some ways, it's good. In a lot of ways, it's bad. Okay, the bad part, the fighting, the insights, the hatred, the violence, and this, that, and the other thing, the wars. You know, that's the bad. Okay, the drugs and the mistreatment of the young. Okay, and I'm going to leave it at that. But in a lot of ways, we've come a long way with dealing with certain things. Okay, kind of like when you think of all the charities out there, Wounded Warrior Project and stuff,
Yep.
and leukemia foundations and cancer foundations and all this, before those were even instituted and made and established, the Creator gave us those remedies. It's always been here. We just never took
I
it.
can't argue with that one because you're 110% right. And
You know,
that's the thing, we got to put the belief back into that.
yeah, we do. Do you know what I take for my cancer right now? I'm not even on medication except to control the acid from where they made my stomach, my esophagus,
Yeah.
because I got no way to control the acid. So if I lie down flat, I aspirate to death because the acid goes into my lungs. The only medication I actually take that is pharmaceutical is metoclopramide, which helps me eat. Okay. I have to take it 3 times a day. And I take omeprazole to control the stomach acid twice a day.
Yep.
Other than that, occasionally I'll take maybe a muscle relaxant because I get these back spasms so bad I can't move. But other than that, I take soursop. Okay. I take stuff that most people probably wouldn't even think of. Here's one of them right here. And I've showed this before. It's soursop, sea moss, oregano, ashwagandha, and black seed oil. Okay. I take that every day. Okay. I take kava extract every day for my immune system. I go as natural as possible. And for somebody that should have been dead in 2020 from cancer, I've survived 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm still going.
Okay. And I'm so glad you are, brother. Believe me.
I may not be the perfect epitome of health right now, but I'm still here. I've still got a purpose. Okay. And, that's the point of me coming out and talking about a lot of this stuff is you have a purpose. Everybody out there has a purpose.
And that's the thing, with the passing of Beth a month ago, a little over a month, everybody was worried about me.
Well, that's because
I was worried about me, but I know there's a purpose why I'm still here, and the purpose she left this plane. Yes, it hurts. It always hurts the living. She's not in pain no more. We are.
Yeah. What did I tell you about
to keep going?
The one thing that I always tell people whenever they have a heartache is if the eyes had no tears, then the soul would have no rainbow.
Yep.
Okay. And that's
when you said that last week, man, that just blew me out of the water.
That's the truth.
Yes.
Think about it. The only reason we have tragedy put into our lives, Bill, and everybody out there, is because it makes us stronger. It makes us better. It makes us able to sustain more of what we're not used to sustaining on a regular basis. Okay. Yeah. And just because we leave this body doesn't necessarily mean we're dead. No, it's just another stage of life.
That's all it is. And and I know she's with me.
She definitely is.
Yeah. And the other thing, I had a psychic friend called me last week. She FaceTimed me and she goes, Bill, I got a message from Beth. Are you up to hearing it? And I'm thinking, oh, here we go. And I believe in psychics, but I still got some doubts. And she let me know that she says the very first thing she told me that Beth was saying was, get my ass out to the woods, basically.
Yeah, I don't mean to laugh, but I just got the impression that she's just standing there laughing her butt off right now.
Yes.
At what you just said.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's the thing. I'm thinking, all right, well, she knows that that's my solace. I've
Yeah.
said it so many times.
That's your
And,
cathedral.
yeah, and she she knows some of this other stuff she was saying, and it's like, okay, this is all in general.
Mhm. Yeah.
But when she mentioned about a deer running beside our car down 422 when we was headed toward Indiana, PA,
I know where Indiana, PA is and 422 is. I know it very well.
yeah, and she had no idea about that, but she knew it. So I know Beth was talking to her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Beth was
And there's
telling
some
me
things.
to quit
Yeah.
hurting so bad. She is okay.
Yeah.
And
She's
that's,
fine.
yeah,
Yeah. See,
yeah,
a lot of people don't understand too. And as long as I've been dealing with the paranormal and the spiritual realm, being a holy man with Joshua Khan, a lot of people don't understand. And I heard a debate on one of the podcasts a couple days ago. There was like 6 or 7 people on screen, and they were debating what residual energy was and all this, that, and the other thing. Well, here's the thing: when you're dealing with spirit, okay, when you're dealing with residual energy, our soul, when we leave, when it's time for us to leave this physicality, this body, this disease susceptible, horrific, pain feeling body, our soul goes to the next level.
right,
Okay. But our spirit has the opportunity to stay here within the environment of the residual energy. Okay. Which is that playing the recording over and over again. Okay. A lot of people say, oh, it's not an intelligent haunt. It can be, though. That's the thing. Okay. You have a division within the spirit when it's left here behind. Okay. And the soul moves on. Okay. The soul goes on to mature more through the next level of life. Our spirit stays here, and it can be divided in energy because that's what we are. We are energy. Okay. So the way we look at it is the residual energy is a learning process. It's something that is left behind from us to make people
yeah,
and humanity to learn from it. Okay. That's why it's residual and it plays over and over and over again like a recorder. Okay. Our other part of our spirit is a lot of the intelligent haunts that you have, the intelligent paranormal activity that you have. Okay. And what this means is it's at a point that it can either be used for good or bad depending on the person's spirit, okay, and how they
right,
interacted in this life. Okay. So you have your good part of your spirit and your bad part of the spirit. You have your yin, you have your yang, you have your hot, you have your cold, you have your duality. Okay. And that's literally what it is. Okay. So when our spirit divides from our residual energy, it's either going to teach us in a respectful manner or it's going to be malevolent and mischievous. Okay. That's all it can be. But it is an intelligence part of us. Okay. Because it's part of our energy, it's part of our chi. The Chinese call it chi, you
right,
know. So, it is a part of us. It's not residual. Residual is something that repeats like a recorder.
constantly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. But our spirit, our other half of that energy spirit that's left behind is the intelligent haunts that you're seeing. Okay. And that people are interacting with. Okay. It's not souls. Okay. Your soul is on. Your soul
yeah,
moves on. It doesn't stay here. I wouldn't want my soul to stay here anyways. I want
no,
to experience the next level of life. I want to experience, that's why we have the rainbow.
yeah,
People don't realize that we have the rainbow because it shows you the levels of heaven. Think about that. Okay. Whenever you have a rainbow, what happens after a storm, after a rainstorm? You usually see a rainbow. That's the creator's way to show us that there is more to this life than in this body. Okay. He wants you to understand that there is so much more available to your soul to mature, to live beyond, to be pain-free, to love unconditionally and never ending, and to live forever. Okay.
Right.
Because that's what our soul is. That's what Jesus was trying to teach people. Okay.
Exactly.
You take my names, my Father, and mine in my name, and you will have eternity. Okay. You will live forever. Okay. You could have the strength of a mustard seed, very tiny, but if you have the faith that's true, you'll go to the kingdom of heaven. You'll go to that next stage, that next level of experiencing life beyond here. Okay.
That's the thing, is that you gotta have the faith
Yeah.
in that.
It's
And
got
a
to be
lot
a
of
true
people
faith.
lost the faith in that,
Yeah.
and lost their way.
Yeah.
People know I'm not super religious. I'm not. I believe in God. I believe in the Bible. I don't go to church every Sunday.
Neither do I.
You know, to me, God knows me. We've
Exactly.
talked a lot. Well, we really talked a lot the last months, but we have always talked a lot.
Exactly.
But you know,
Do you think a creator that knows every hair on your head, that knows every tear that you shed, is going to give up on you?
no,
No, he's
nope.
not. He's going to keep putting things in your path to tell you that things are going to eventually be okay. And if it's not going to be eventually okay, I'm going to toughen you up to make it okay.
And that's the thing. The poem, the footprints.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but why is there only one set of footprints? You weren't walking with me. You were, and then you're not. And that's when he goes, because I was carrying you.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I believe that. And I believe Beth is in a better place now than she has been in a long time.
Yeah. And
And
she's there,
it's
she's there
yeah,
waiting for us,
yeah,
all of us. Okay.
yes. And
And
she, yes, it hurt that she left. It hurt her real, real bad. I'm telling you,
Mhm.
I was in a very bad place, hurting. Um, not to kill myself, but I was hurting really bad.
Yeah.
And one of the things I said to my psychic friend is that I don't want her upset with me because I'm the one that told the doctors to take her off the life support.
It'll never happen that way.
And right away she said she's not.
Mm-mm.
She's thankful.
Yeah,
She's not
because you
hurting.
set her free.
Yes. And that is the I still feel guilty. Like for doing that. Yeah, I still feel guilty for doing that because there could have been a chance she'd come back. And then I know there wasn't. Even now, I know there wasn't, but I still feel guilty like she could have. And that's the thing that I got to live with and accept that because, after she was taken off the support, she was only living in that body 15 more minutes.
Yeah.
So she was
It was
ready.
her time, brother.
Yes,
Yeah, she was completely ready. And you know
Yes.
what? That's the thing. The creator made a way, a path for her because he knew she would be ready. Okay. He made it available to happen. Okay. And he didn't make it available out of hatred for you or her or anything. He made it out of love.
Right.
Because the hardest thing for a creator to do is to take away his creation. Okay. The hardest thing for any parent to do is to suffer the loss of their child. Okay. And that's what happened. You don't think the creator feels remorse or a tear for what happens when we leave this body?
Mm.
He's pure energy, pure emotion, okay, pure love. Of course, he's going to feel remorse, but he has to do it in order for us to mature to the next level, the next heaven. And that's
That's
where we need to be. We need to
that's the
walk our
thing.
life like that. Yeah, we need to walk our daily life like that. We really
And,
do.
and so many people don't. And yes, folks, we went from Bigfoot to this. No problem.
We'll get back to
No,
Bigfoot.
no
too.
segue.
Yeah,
No segue. We just went there, and I don't
yeah.
care.
We'll go back to Bigfoot too eventually. That's no big
And,
deal.
well, Susan, you said that's one of the best compliments you ever gave us. She goes, "This is the best podcast she's listened to so far." Thank you,
Awesome.
Susan.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you very much.
And she
That means
goes,
a
"Man,
lot.
I wish I had you around while I was growing up. I learned was that it is taboo to talk about stuff like this, and it should be avoided. Everything you have said so far, Mr. Nighthawk, has been wait a minute, so insightful and makes so much sense. Why do you think I had him on, Susan? Jeez.
I'm just,
Like I said at the beginning, I cannot say enough about this man with his experiences, his knowledge, the whole 9 yards. And
I can only say that, in the time frame that I've got to be here, I want to make humanity a better way of being.
yes,
I don't want to. I don't want to like force my knowledge or my thoughts and theories on things onto people, and from my experience and my encounters, whether it's cryptid, whether it's paranormal, whether it's supernatural. And believe me, there was a point where I was in the hospital with the cancer, and I was laying in the hospital bed for months, and I mean months on end, in 2019 to 2020. I was diagnosed in April, not more than probably 3-4 days after my birthday. Okay, in April of 2019. In that time frame, the reason I went to the emergency room to begin with was because I was choking on water. I couldn't even put water down my throat. I was choking on it, even sips. Come to find out, after a CT scan and MRIs, they found that there was an 11-centimeter mass wrapped around my esophagus, closing it off completely. And it was the length of 3/4 of my esophagus. And yeah, did I smoke? Well, yes, I smoked, but I quit for the longest time too. But I did ceremonial tobacco and stuff too during ceremony. But I never in my wildest dreams, when the doctor came in that diagnosed me and said, Nighthawk, you got 6 months to live if we can't do something about this. That was 2019 in April. I'm still here.
yeah, and I'm
That
so thankful too, because you've been a lot of insight to me that I can relate to, even though I don't say much on your podcast or the stuff you send me, but I do check it out, and it's like, and it's helped me
well, I've always,
along the way.
yeah, I've always told everybody to question everything, and that's
Yes.
the point. You know, we have the right and the responsibility to question everything as stewards of this world. Okay,
Yes.
of the environment, of Mother Earth, and of the wildlife. And to walk in reverence with everything. We are stewards of this world. Okay, we were gifted that. We were told that we were that. And my whole purpose of being here from my gathering of what I have interpreted, is that I am here to enlighten people again about that stewardship.
Right.
Okay. Because when we start seeing the beasts of this world, the wildlife in this world acting more human than humans do, there's a problem. Okay. And we need to figure out how to resolve that problem. And the best way to resolve that problem is to understand where we came from, why we were made. Okay. And the whole purpose of humanity being made wasn't to mine gold, wasn't to be slaves, wasn't to be just, another dumb animal on the planet. We were
No.
placed within a Garden of Eden that had everything. Everything. The food that we were eating from Mother Earth sustained us, kept us healthy with no disease. Okay. And the same with the wildlife in this world. Okay. In those days. Now look at us.
Yes.
We're eating processed foods. We're eating chemical laced foods. And we've got diseases that we can't even pronounce. Why?
You're talking about this as you was talking. Susan put up, I really think that society needs to reevaluate their stance on herbal medicine. And she works in a pharmacy, and they laugh at me for thinking that way. Deep down, though, I believe we need to go back to natural remedies.
Yes, we do.
And Susan, he's right there to prove it does work.
Yeah, it does work.
And
but it's not just the herbal medicines, though, guys, that we need to consider. It's what we process here. I always teach people, I said, you have to listen to your first brain. Your first brain is your heart. Okay. That's why whenever I touch something, I touch with my left hand, because my left hand is connected to my heart. Okay.
Right.
I touch a tree and I pray on a tree, or I'm leaning against something. I always use my left hand because I want that environment, that part of the environment, to know my heart. Okay. My first brain. Okay. If we use our thinking brain, our processing brain, our analyzing brain, it tends to mess things up all the time. Okay. If we can just steer away from the practical, analytical thinking and think more on the lines of spiritual and supernatural, and the connection and being the conduit to the Creator, to the Heavenly Father, our lives are going to be so much better.
Yes.
Okay. But when we take the herbs to heal ourselves, okay. And I'm going to get back into Bigfoot after this too, because I'm going to point out something to everybody too, that why I know that they exist. Okay.
Yeah. Let's stop there for a second. I need to say hi to a couple people that I miss. Grizzly Chris is out there. Pine Knot, how you doing? Mark Eddie, I'm glad you're out there too. I've been so enthralled listening to you, William, and it's great. And everyone else, Bounty, what you said too about your mom, believe me, it's the same, but it's not the same. The love of the mother to the love of my life, the pain's still the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah. You got to remember,
I understand.
If it wasn't for that pain, if it wasn't for that pain, you wouldn't have that heart.
Yep.
That just confirms that you have a heart. Think about it.
Yep. Yeah, we do. And that, and I felt like my heart was being crushed. And I've said that many times. And it's not, not that I didn't believe that God had a plan. And no, I was not mad at him. I was mad at her leaving me,
Yeah.
but I wasn't mad at God because he has the knowledge and what's going on, where even though we ask, we might not get the answer when we want it, but we'll get an answer.
Well,
No,
nobody is guaranteed a divine response or a divine
no,
answer.
no,
Okay.
we're not.
And that's what we've got to remember. Just because you think that you don't have a response right away from the creator, from the heavenly father, doesn't necessarily mean down the road you're not going to see the reason why it happened the way it happened.
Right.
Okay. So,
And
you have to consider that too.
and that's the thing, that now I'm going into why I believe I saw the Bigfoot. Why I believe I'm on this trail of getting the knowledge.
Mhm.
The man upstairs put me on this trail.
Yeah, he did.
And I joke around and I say, one of the most expensive hobbies I ever had. Well, yeah, it's a hobby, but it's a full-time job hobby.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. And with that's speaking to that psychic telling me to get back out into the woods to do what I love doing. It wasn't just her saying that. It was the man upstairs. I believe that. And why do we keep looking for them? We want answers. The curiosity killed the cat, but it doesn't kill us humans.
Yeah.
Very
true. Yeah, very true. Very true. And getting back to the whole way of being, when we are so connected to things spiritually, we have more energetic things happen in our lives. Okay. When if you've ever gone out at night and just put a blanket out on the ground in the middle of summer and just stared up at the stars and talked to the stars,
Mm-hmm.
the stars are going to interact with you. They're going to answer you. Okay. Same with wildlife. We had another kitten show up today, or actually a couple days ago, but more active today with me outside. That looks like it's half bobcat and half feral cat, and it's just a kitten, just a little, tiny kitten, beautiful tiger stripes, and another mouth to feed though with the horde that we already take care of, which is fine. The creator gives us what we can endure. Okay. And that's one thing that I've come to realize why stuff is happening the way it is. They feel the energy that we put out. And, the more we put out in a positive manner, the more positivity is going to come back to us. Okay. That's only given. Okay. That's just given, real energy work. Okay.
Yep.
And that's why we pray. Okay. Prayer has a lot to do with it, but not just verbal prayer, but mental praying. Okay. Praying silently and imagining that prayer being answered and coming true will manifest that prayer to develop. Okay. Sometimes when we deal with the paranormal and the supernatural, our brain does that automatically. And that's why we interact with certain things. Okay. Our brain it fine tunes it. It tries to find that frequency spiritually and supernaturally to have these other entities or these other, whether it's residual energy or a smart spiritual energy, or whether it's little people, whether it's Bigfoot, whether it's dog man, whether it's shadow people, whatever it is, even if it's a light in the sky, an orb, changing colors because you're asking it questions and saying certain things to it in a positive way. It's making us the receivers. Okay.
Yes. And I say, with something I've been doing a lot before Beth's passing, but been doing even more so now. I've been doing a lot of praying, but I've been opening up that third eye. If you know what I mean? And
yeah, exactly.
So I had to do that. I had to open that third eye up.
Mm-hmm.
I closed it off years ago because of something I saw.
Yeah, because you put
in a
blinders
dream.
on.
Yeah. I saw in a dream at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
And it affected me so bad I had to block it out.
Yeah.
And so, and been opening it back up, but I really opened it up in the last month. And so I can find the inner peace and still see what's going on like with my research and what's going on in the afterlife and the whole
Sorry, I'm
night.
making more coffee.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I understand that, and I actually honestly I respect that because that's exactly how it's meant to happen. Okay, when we deal with Bigfoot though, and other cryptids, but primarily Bigfoot, there's certain things that we need to consider. Okay, that first off, you need to separate the flesh and blood from the supernatural. Okay, and I've said this for a long time now. You can ask Bounty and David, Lester, and everybody in the chat that knows me and Carl. I've said this for years now, that you need to separate the flesh and blood from the supernatural.
Yes.
You have energies within the environment, the legends from indigenous cultures around the world, talking about little people, about shadow people, about the watchers of the woods. Okay, certain entities. With a lot of the native lore here in the United States and Canada, you have the Wendigo, the Skinwalker, all types of different stuff. Okay, I personally have done the Walker ceremony because I was raised at a certain point in my life after my first near-death experience by a mother that was in the black arts of her culture, and she was native. Okay. So I've done ceremonies in the dark arts of that. Okay. I've experienced that part. Okay. That's why I'm the way I am today, because sometimes you got to go into the darkness to find the light.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what I had to do. Okay. In order to make me strong enough to endure what the Creator instilled upon me to suffer through with these cancers and to survive it so far, he had to make me strong enough. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So if you're
100%.
if you're not made strong enough through things that occur in your life, you're not going to be prepared for what happens to you that's going to be ultimately tragic in the future. See, he knows what the plan is. Just because we don't know what the plan is doesn't mean that everything's not going to work out. Okay.
That's the thing. I always consider myself a strong guy. And, losing my grandmother, then 10 years later, my mom, then a couple months later, my great aunt, who was only 10 years older than my mom, we were all close. And I shed a little bit of tears, not a lot. And that's what I kept telling people about the passing of Beth. I was strong. Yeah. I don't feel strong now. I'm breaking down, crying a lot. And I think it was my buddy Griff that said, "Well, look how long you guys been together.
Yeah.
Why do you think you're breaking down?" Another one says, "She was the love of your life." You know,
Well, here's the other thing too, though, Bill, on that whole aspect of that whole relationship,
yeah,
from her being sick and stuff and dealing with what she had to deal with, and putting you through that made you stronger to deal with this point in your life. Think about it.
I didn't feel that strong, you know, for
But
a
it
few
made you
weeks.
stronger, though.
It
But
did,
it
but
made
I
you
did
stronger.
not feel it. And I kept saying, I'm not strong like I was. And they said, "Yes, you are. You're still there. You're still strong. You're dealing with. You're allowed to
Exactly.
cry. You're allowed to feel bad." And
And I'll tell you this right now. Anybody out there, okay? I'm an ex-military vet. Okay, I was a SOB when I was growing up. I did the dark arts and stuff. I was literally what nightmares were made of when I was younger. Okay, I was the one that would, and I an old movie line. I can't remember what movie it was from, but I was the type of guy in my younger life that I would drink a gallon of gasoline just to walk to your campsite and piss in your campfire. Okay,
yes,
that's the kind of guy I was. Okay, I'm not that way now because you know why? I had to endure that BS in my life for a reason, to make me what I am today. That's the whole purpose. That's why we
and
are sent to endure things.
that's the
So,
thing too. That's it's what makes us. We learn from it and grow from it. We don't just, all right, we've been through this. So what? No, you got to grow through it. And sometimes growing is hard, even at an older age. Even though you know this stuff happens, it's still hard, but you got to keep growing.
exactly. You got to keep going. You
Yeah.
have to. You have to keep going. And you'll find out eventually things will smooth out. Okay. And
Yes.
things will start to look more of an inspiration and a reason for things happening so tragic in your life. You know, we
And
have right now, we have an opportunity to change things as human beings of all nations, of all races, of all religions. We have an opportunity to change things for the better. Okay, not just for humanity, but for our own world, our own Mother Earth, our own the wildlife, and everything that walks upon the earth. Okay, and the supernatural and the
yes.
divine.
And
We have the opportunity to create more of an inspirational type of way of life than a warring and arguing and hatred, and you know, just because I'm this religion, I hate you, you know, or just because I'm this type of religion, you know, of ethnicity, I hate you, you know. That, I'm sorry, that BS has got to go out the damn door. Okay,
yes,
don't let the screen door hit it in the ass on the way out. Okay, plain and simple. Okay,
exactly. And the
and
thing
that's
is, too, we got we
go
got
ahead.
to accept who we are. A lot of people try to change themselves to be the badass that they want to be. They want to be uh, all this righteous, super calific. It's BS. And we are what we are, and we got to learn from our
Exactly.
mistakes and from things that made us better.
Exactly.
And
And I guarantee there's people in the chat right now that know exactly what that feeling is, to know exactly the struggles that they've had to endure to get to a
Mhm.
point to where they will understand why those struggles happened. Okay. And that's the same thing with when you're dealing with the world that you don't understand.
Yes.
whether it's paranormal, whether it's supernatural, or whether it's cryptid, whether it's UFOs and aliens. Okay, you have an opportunity to mature and grow within those subjects. Okay, within those
That's the
fields
thing.
of studies.
Yep. You got
And
to grow.
Yeah, the more I have interacted with Bigfoot and the other cryptids and even the wildlife and the environment in general, the more I've grown, the more I've been grounded and spiritually grounded, and realized how important the Creator is, because above all other names that He has given, He is still the Creator of everything. You can call
Yep.
Him Source, you can call Him God, you can call Him the Heavenly Father, you can call Him Jesus Christ, you can call Him Yeshua, you can call Him whatever you want. He has many names, and His purpose is for us to only grow and mature within this life. Okay, my own people call Him Wankantanka, the Great Spirit. Okay, it's such a miraculous thing when your eyes are opened up and you know that these things exist, and you don't have to depend on somebody trying to debunk it or to say that a certain film or video is fake, and they can prove it, and they don't prove it. Okay,
Yes.
first off, very dear friend of mine, a good brother of mine, MK Davis. Okay, I had him on the podcast one time there a couple years back, and I haven't had the opportunity to bring him back on. But I he was on with Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress.
Yes.
And even he stated it best: you can't fake what you're seeing. Okay, the muscles underneath the fur, the fact that their fur was sporadic, which made it possibly Neanderthal type of a being. The fact that it had a medicine bundle confirms everything that I said about them having holy people, and every other indigenous culture and person around the world has said time and time again that these beings have their own medicine people.
And I believe that too.
Yeah, if they were dumb apes, if they were dumb apes, they wouldn't have their own medicine people. Okay, it's a fact. Okay,
yes. When I saw a little primate, did it look stupid? No.
Exactly. There's a wisdom in those eyes when they're staring at you. There's a wisdom even in those eyes when they're staring at you and they're pissed. Okay?
Yep.
Because they don't react that way without a cause. For every thing that we do, you're going to get a reaction. Okay?
Yes.
Whether you do it out of spite and on purpose, or whether you do it accidentally, it's just the way things occur. Okay,
exactly,
and we need to realize that.
That's the thing. We all need to step back and accept that thinking and realize this is how it's supposed to be. And Tim, we're all flesh, and no matter color or race, we're all human beings. We all came from one beginning, and we'll all go to the one end of the flesh.
Exactly.
And, yes. And, Tim had multiple sightings too. And, and that's the thing. We all got to accept what's going to happen is going to happen no matter what. There's no stopping it.
I like what Bounty Hunter said about having a rule herself for her whole life. Learn something new and meet one new person every day. And that's the truth. And it doesn't even have to be a person. No. It could be wildlife. It could be, just an experience on your own when you're out in the environment,
Yes. And like Griff spoke, we're all brothers and sisters under the Creator.
Exactly.
So you might be meeting a brother or sister for the first time.
Yeah.
But
There, I've
they're
I've
right.
I've I've been kind of helping out and giving some of my spiritual strength to well, you know Gwendolyn
Yeah.
Purcell, very dear, sweet friend of mine, and a great researcher, and
I was
investigator.
talking to her last night. Yeah.
She's phenomenal, and she'll tell you herself that I've been trying to work with her and help her with some of the things that she's had going on, and she's still gathering her medicine, her spiritual
Yeah.
medicine. And it's like I've always said, we are interacting with wildlife on a daily basis, and what we interact with on a daily basis sets the foundation for us to seek what our spiritual medicines are, irregardless of your religious beliefs. Okay, you can still be a Christian. Okay, but you need to understand that things are put in your path on a daily basis to teach you things, because otherwise, how's the creator going to teach you something? How's the heavenly Father going to teach you something? Okay, he puts these things in our daily path, whether we believe it's an obstacle or just something to learn from. Okay, in our path for a reason. Okay, so like
And
when you see a red-tailed hawk or something along that lines, it's a message that somebody's trying to get to you. Okay, when I hear an owl or I see an owl or interact with an owl,
yeah,
that's a bad omen for me. Okay, from my people, because it's a representation of something bad going to happen. It's kind of like an omen of tragedy, kind of like the Mothman. Okay, has been represented.
right.
Okay, same principle. Okay, and in some cultures, ironically, the moth represents the spirit trying to communicate to the flesh.
Yes.
Okay, so it's kind of ironic if you think about that connection too with the Mothman. But
Yeah.
to go on, we have to determine these animals, like the deer is a representation of love. Those of you that see deer all the time, you're being taught and told that's one of your spiritual medicines is unconditional love, and you have to develop that. Sorry, I'm getting an air pocket right now because I'm talking so much. But when we see a mountain lion or a big cat, its representation is courage. Okay, it's telling you you need to build up courage and to be strong. Maybe not for yourself, but for others. Okay, so there's so many different things that you can learn. My people have a belief that the bear was the first medicine man. Okay, think about that. The bear was the first
I
medicine
was
man
told
because
that before.
it stood on two legs, and it knew what plants to eat and what barks to consume to heal itself. Okay, it was the first medicine man. Okay, there's an old legend of these three young warriors going out in a hunting party, and the elders and the medicine people told them, do not hunt the bear. Okay,
Hmm.
do not hunt the bear. You can bring back as many deer as you want, even though the people haven't eaten in weeks, and we're starving. Do not hunt the bear.
That's right.
Well, what
And
do? They hunted the
uh,
bear. On the third day of being out there, not finding any deer and stuff, they finally got desperate enough to hunt the bear. When they went to process it and put it into the pot and cook it over the fire, the lid started vibrating off the pot. Okay, and basically they went and they opened up the lid to see why it was vibrating. And when they opened up the lid, millions upon millions of mosquitoes entered the environment. Okay, and to this very day, because they neglected to follow the proper way of what they were taught by their elders and their medicine people and the creator that taught those medicine people and the elders to say that, the mosquito was put here to make humanity suffer, because every time you get bit by a mosquito, you're going to be reminded, if you're native and you're indigenous, that that bear should not have been unalived to feed their people. Okay, so that's a reminder.
Yeah.
Okay, of something that tragically ended up making the mosquito, and that's just a legend. But you know what? Legends are based on fact. Okay,
Yes.
so that had to happen at some point in time. Okay, just like we talked about in the beginning of the podcast about the PNG film with Patty, being fake. It doesn't matter. I know for fact they exist. Okay, it doesn't matter to me because I know from the fact of studying the film that that's not fake. You can't fake that.
Exactly.
Okay, so put my encounters and my beliefs, and then the fact that I've seen them and dealt with them hand in hand, and some of them looked exactly like Patty looked.
Yep.
I got no doubt.
And the thing is, too, it's not just you and me, even Jack Warren, that have seen them.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of people have seen them.
Exactly.
So, say it's fake all you want. We all know better.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, we've been over 2 hours now just going to town on this, William.
Mm-hmm.
And Catherine want to know, get ready for this one. This is a good one for you. Your YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Well, you just go to Nighthawk High Strangeness YouTube channel. I've got that on YouTube, and it's Nighthawk High Strangeness. I believe I can't remember. I think it's youtube.com/William Nighthawk 6630 is the link, I believe. If not, just go to YouTube and just type in Nighthawk High Strangeness, and it'll pop up. You'll see a wolf emblem of basically a wolf on fire and a blue wolf that kind of represent yin and yang duality. Okay, and you'll see that on there for the logo. And the funny thing about it is the reason I picked that was unclear to me. It just spoke to me. Okay, when I picked that for the logo, and I had a dear friend help me out with making the logo. But everything that we talk about actually kind of correlates with that. It's like that old legend of we as human beings, we have two wolves inside us, one good and one bad. Okay. And, the young warrior goes to the medicine person and says, well, which one can I make, that is more prominent in my life? And the medicine person looked at him and said, whichever one you feed the most. Do you want to feed the good wolf, or do you want to feed the bad wolf? The choice is yours. Plain and simple. Choice is yours, folks.
Yeah. That's it. And that's it too.
Yeah.
The thing is, we all like to try to be good, and then you got the few that don't care, wants to be bad.
Right.
Disassociate. That's all.
Exactly.
Disassociate. But anyhow, like I said, we were over 2 hours now. We're going to have to get our butts going.
Yep.
And William, I'm definitely bringing you back on. And William and I are going to be doing a podcast together to help researchers or wannabe researchers, even old-time researchers, on researching different tricks of the trade. We're not saying it's right for you, but I'm basing our knowledge.
Yeah, I'm basing everything off of what I was taught and what I've experienced and encountered over my 60 plus years of being involved in this. And it's a lot of it I haven't talked about. So it's going to be
Right.
stuff that I haven't even disclosed a lot about, especially dealing with Bigfoot. So
And that's
I look
that's the
forward.
thing. We're going to share our knowledge that we've learned, and hopefully it helps everybody.
Yeah.
And that's going to be coming probably, hopefully in May. We're,
Yeah.
we're going to sit down and start working things out in the whole 9 yards. And so I'm looking forward to it because being with you even expands my knowledge. So that's what I do these
I'm,
podcasts for.
I'm I'm good for about 2 hours of conversation. I'm struggling right now with my
Yeah,
voice, so I do have to get going, Bill. But it's been a pleasure, and I'm here for you whenever you need me, brother. You just ask
you
me and
know
come
it.
back. We're good as gold, bro. All
You
right,
know it, brother. And
Jack
thank
and
you so
Catherine
much.
and Monisha and David and everybody in the chat. Bounty, thank you all for being here. Carl, everybody that's been in the chat. I can't remember everybody's names right now offhand, but thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting my brother Bill here, and showing the love. And we'll come back on when we have our educational podcast. I'd like to bring David Lester on too with us sometime, if we could.
That's fine.
I think it'd be a great.
That's fine.
Um, he's a very great friend of mine and brother of mine too.
I
Him
heard
and his
things
wife.
about them, and
Yeah.
so that I think it'd be a great idea. And
Yep.
everyone, if you have not yet, like the Facebook page of ours, the Agents of Dan Explained. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Agents of the Unexplained, 7202.
Yep.
And for the ones that have not subscribed to William, subscribe to him. The man got so much more knowledge to share. Believe me, he really does. And thank you all for being out here.
Good night, everybody.
Been a great evening, been very informative, and I'm so glad that I had you on, William. You know we love you, brother.
Well,
Good
I
night,
love you too,
everybody.
brother, and I love everybody in the chat. You all take care.
This has been the Agents of the Unexplained Paranormal Podcast. Please like, follow, and share on all social media. And remember, the truth is out there.
Bill Rigby leads the way into the strange.